It's time for another hieroglyph. So what was this one and how was it used in ancient Egyptian? That's what we'll get into in just a moment. Welcome to Voices of Ancient Egypt. If you're new here, I'd love it if you click subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss future videos like this one. All right. So what is this one? Well, you might have guessed that this is a schematic depiction of water. So kind of ripples or waves on the water. However, used by itself, it does not actually write the word for water. Instead, the way it is used is it is a one consonant sign. That is, it stands for one consonant sound, and that is the sound like our letter N. And so it's super, super popular. You've already, if you've watched any of my other videos, seen it many times because it shows up in a lot of different words. And, way too numerous to mention. But I will mention a couple of ways that it's used very commonly, and it can spell a couple of words actually all by itself. So first of all, it can spell the preposition that is, words like to, for, of, on, under, etc. It can do a preposition that in English is usually equivalent to for or to. Depends on the context. As with any language, prepositions never translate exactly one for one when you're translating. So it can be used that way, but it also, the same spelling can be used for a word that's not a preposition, but instead it means sort of what we in technical terms call a genitive. So if you wanted to say the house of my friend, for example, you would use the N for that of. Now, one of the most common places you will see both of these, and this is something my students get used to with this at least, although in general, the proliferation of N's in texts that can be hard to tell which one it is does drive my students crazy. But one of the first ways they learn to recognize it is in the phrase N, ka, N. I've talked about ka before. I'll link that video in the cards and description. And this phrase means for the ka of. Now, the ka is a part of the person. I'm not going to go into detail. I do have that in other videos about the sign and about the ka in ancient Egypt. But basically, it's the part of the person that still needs food and drink after death. So in offering formulae, which we've been talking a lot about lately, they usually, after listing a whole bunch of offerings, will say for the ka of, and then the person's name. So in the case of this stela here, the stela belonged to a man named Mentuoser. So it says for the ka of, and then we have an epithet and his title, his job, and then his name, Mentuoser. So that's one of the most common places you'll see these used, and you can tell where you have both of them in this case on either side of ka. See you in the next video.